Welcome to the AdexTrades Houston Meetup, Building Your Financial Legacy Seminar. It means the world to me that you guys are here. I know some of you came from a different state, some of you came from a different country, some of you just came across the street, but wherever your destination, how you came here, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. First and foremost, for those that do not know me, I go by Adex. Before I begin, let me start with a disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am here for educational and entertainment purposes only. What you choose to do with this information is completely up to you. All right, let's begin. Now, has anyone ever heard of the 4 pillars to mental health? Raise your hand if you have. The 4 pillars to mental health. Anyone? Okay, we got a couple of hands raised. All right. So the 4 pillars to mental health, they include physical health, spiritual health, emotional health, and the one that we're going to be talking about today is financial health. Now, too often, financial health gets completely neglected. And when the financial pillar is shaky, it can cause stress that eats into other areas of our life. Now, this seminar is about strengthening that financial pillar because a strong financial base can support all areas of your life and your life goals. So what does it actually mean to be financially healthy? What does that actually mean? According to a study done by Drexel University, they define financial health as one's ability to manage expenses, prepare for and recover from financial shocks, have minimal debt, and build wealth. Notice that in this definition, it says nothing about being rich. You guys see that? Our goal is not to be rich. Our goal is to be wealthy. Being rich usually means that you have like a nice house, you have a nice car, you probably got a good mortgage, you have a nice mortgage, and it's a lifestyle that's usually funded by your labor. But once you stop working, the money stops flowing, right? Being wealthy is different. Wealthy means that you have assets and cash flow that give you the freedom to live life on your own terms. You don't have to trade time for money. See, I want you to take a look at this flowchart on the screen. So if you take the average or the rich person, they get money and they use that money to directly fund their lifestyle. But let's take the wealthy person. See, the wealthy person takes a different path. The wealthy person gets money. They use that money to buy assets. They use those assets to collect cash flow, and cash flow is what funds their lifestyle. They don't spend money on the principal. They spend the profits from the asset. So I want you guys to think about this. What do you guys think is the number one thing that keeps people from becoming wealthy? And I want you guys to just feel free to shout it out loud. What do you guys think is the number one thing that keeps people from becoming wealthy? What do you guys think? What's that? Spending habits? Mindset? Fear? Anyone else? Knowledge? Trying to look wealthy? Okay, so we got spending habits, we got fear, we got mindset, trying to look wealthy. Those are all great answers. But believe it or not, it's not that. It's also not a lack of intelligence. Believe it or not, it's ignorance. Ignorance is the number one thing that keeps people from becoming wealthy. Or what I mean is a lack of knowledge and discipline regarding money. See, I want you to think about these questions that I'm about to ask you. And you don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to answer it out loud. But I just want you to think about it in your head, all right? How much money do you make per month? I want you to think about that. How much money do you make per month? Or how much money do you spend per month? Or how much money do you spend on groceries per year on average? Do you know those answers? Can you just name it at the top of your head? Or better yet, how about this? What is your net worth excluding your primary home residence? Believe it or not, y'all, a lot of people do not know these answers to these questions. And when you do not know these answers to these questions, you cannot win at this game of wealth. You have to. You know how many people are scared to look at their bank account every day? How many Americans are scared to look at their bank account? Oh, I don't want to see how much they took. You can't do that. Wealthy people look at their bank account every single day. They wake up, they look at their bank account. Up or down, they are looking at their bank account. You need to transition from being rich or average to wealthy. And these are some of the things that you need to do. But there's good news. Becoming wealthy is not rocket science. It's actually pretty simple. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty simple. It just takes discipline and sacrifice. All you need to do is spend less than you earn and invest the difference. I'm going to say it again. All you need to do is spend less than you earn and invest the difference. And why is it that we invest? See, the reason why you want to invest is because you want your money to work for you. Every dollar that you save or invest is a piece of your future that you own. The more assets you own, the wealthier you become. See, wealth isn't about how much money you make. It's about how much that money you can keep and how much that money can work for you. Wealth means independence. You can retire early. See, traditionally, we've been told that you're supposed to work until you're 65, save in your 401k, and then hopefully you're gonna have enough money to retire comfortably. But guess what? They used to say that retirement, or how many of you guys heard of the three-legged stool to retirement? Raise your hand. Has anyone heard of the three-legged stool to retirement? Okay, we got a couple of hands raised. So this is what the three-legged stool to retirement is. What it was is that you have your pension from your company. You have your Social Security, the Social Security that you've been putting money to all these years that you've been funding. You're going to be getting that back. And then you have your personal investments, so like your 401k. And the three-legged stool to retirement, what it says is that if you could take this bucket from your 401k, this bucket from your pension, and your bucket from the Social Security, all that together, you should be able to retire comfortably. But unfortunately, though, I don't know if you guys have checked, but a lot of companies are no longer offering a pension. Social Security fund is drying up. And if we wanted to put more money into the Social Security fund, that would mean what? The Federal Reserve printing more money, so that means high inflation for you? How does that work? And the 401k, it was never meant to be the sole reason for retirement or the sole retirement fund to be able to retire. As a matter of fact, the founder of the 401k himself even stated that the 401k was never meant to be the primary vehicle for retirement. It was only meant to get spenders to save money. I'm going to list some facts for you guys. So according to CNBC, they say that Americans say that they need about $1 to $2 million to retire comfortably. All right? So in order for you guys to retire comfortably, most Americans say we're going to need about $1 to $2 million saved. But you guys want to know the scary part about this? 64% of Americans over age 65 have just $100,000 or less saved for retirement. So how does that work? We need $1 to $2 million saved or invested to be able to save for retirement, but 65% of Americans are saying they only have $100,000 or less. So how do we get past this? How is it that you and I and everyone in this room, how do we not become part of that 64% number? Right? That's the reason why you're here today. Again, our goal is to be wealthy. So there are two ways to achieve financial freedom that I'm going to be talking about today. And the first one is through savings and investments. And number two is through cash flow. And I'm going to be explaining why I believe cash flow is a real game changer. Now, who has heard about the 4% rule? Who has heard about the 4% rule? Okay, a lot of people heard about the 4% rule. Cool. So this is what the 4% rule says. So let's say that you calculate your expenses and your lifestyle income. Let's say that amounts to about $40,000 a year. All right. So $40,000 a year is what you're going to need every year to retire comfortably. And the 4% rule states that in order for you to get this $40,000 a year, you're going to need to save at least $1 million. Now, where did I get this $1 million from? 40,000 divided by 0.04, 4%, $1 million. So the 4% rule states that if you have this $1 million, you can be able to withdraw $40,000 from this fund, and it's going to help you retire comfortably because the assumption is that you'll have about $30 years worth of money saved. So the reason why a lot of Americans like this is because, hey, if you're going to retire at 65 plus 30 years, that's how, get the math. So that's essentially why it's been a strategy that a lot of people use. This rule was created in 1994, and this rule does not account for the individuals who want to retire early or if we are in a high inflationary environment. This is why I prefer cash flow or cash flow investing. Now, cash flow is money that your assets are paying you that you do not have to work for. This can be dividends from stock market or from stocks. This can be rent from real estate, or this can be profits from businesses. Now, imagine this. Imagine that you are generating 8% cash flow or yield a year. So I just want you to imagine, I'm generating 8% yield a year or cash flow a year. To make that same $40,000, that lifestyle income, in order for you to get that same $40,000, you would only need $500,000 invested. Now, the reason why I'm saying 500,000 is because this is 500,000 compared to that $1 million with the 4% rule. But there's a difference. The difference with cash flow investing is that you are not withdrawing $40,000 a year from your portfolio. With cash flow investing, you are generating that $40,000 from your $500,000 investment. Or let me give you a better analogy, right? Let's say that you own rental property, okay? So you own this rental house, and the 4% rule states that in order for you to live, you're going to need to sell off a piece of this property every single year. So one year you sell the bathroom, another year you sell the kitchen, another year you sell the upstairs bedroom. In order for you to live, that's how the 4% rule works. But with cash flow investing, you can collect a dividend, which is the rent, and you're using the rent to live off of. And you get to still hold this rental property, the entire asset, and it can still continue to accumulate in value. This is the power of cash flow investing. And when it continues to accumulate in value, then you can take advantage of compound interest. Now, you guys have probably heard that Albert Einstein, he calls compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. And once you understand its power, you can become wealthy. It's simply just interest on interest. You invest your money into assets that pay you cash flow, like, for example, dividend-paying stocks. So you buy or you accumulate as many of this dividend-paying stocks as possible. They pay you a dividend, which is money that you now have. You take this money and you put it back into this dividend-paying stock to get more assets. And what do? They pay you a bigger dividend. You take that bigger dividend that they give you, you put it back into the asset, and they pay you a bigger dividend. And this is the snowball effect working. It's literally, you just keep on compounding, and now you have the snowball effect working for you. Now that we know that what we're supposed to do, how do we get there? Or what does it take to get there? So now I'm going to be explaining, or I'm going to talk about the 5 steps that you can follow to generate wealth and build your financial legacy. And if you follow these steps with discipline and patience, you will have the opportunity to put your financial legacy in your own hands. Wealth does not have an age. Oh, I'm too old. Nope, Wealth does not have a color. Nope, sorry. You just have to start. All right, so let's talk about the first step. The first step to wealth is mindset. Because if you don't have the right mindset, you can just forget everything that I'm about to say. Literally. Actually, as a matter of fact, you can just walk out the door because why are you even here in the first place, right? You got to have the right mindset. You are wealthy in your mind before you are wealthy in your bank account. You need to believe that you are going to become wealthy before you actually be wealthy. If you have a broke mindset, you're not going to become wealthy. Now, unfortunately, a lot of us weren't taught this in school. Our education system was not designed to create investors. Our education system was not designed to create entrepreneurs. Our education system was not designed to create wealthy individuals. Our education system was designed to create employees. Now, there's nothing wrong with being an employee, but in a capitalist society like America, where you can be an owner not only makes money from their labor, they also make money from their capital and from their assets. And a capitalist economy rewards those who have capital and assets. That job that you went to school for, unfortunately, it's generating profits for a CEO, a board of directors, or shareholders. That job has a natural limit. You can only work so many hours out of the day. But your assets can continue to work for you while you are sleeping. You want to transition from trading your finite labor for a salary to trading growing capital for cash flow. You need to mentally switch from saying, I earn a living to my assets earn a living. This is the mental shift that everybody in this room needs to make. Wealthy people think like owners. They don't just think like workers. All right? So that's step one, mindset. You go from I earn a living to my assets earn a living. Now, step two, I bet we wanted to know how to start building cash flow, right? You guys want to know how to start building cash flow? Anybody? Cool? All right, cool. All right, so step two, cash flow? Nope, you are wrong. We are not building cash flow yet. Step two, you got to build your base. I got you guys. You guys thought we were just going to go straight to it. Nope, sorry, that's not how it works. Step two, you got to build your base. All right? Who has heard of an emergency fund? All right, cool. I like a good. So an emergency fund protects you from sudden shocks in life. Let's say you lost your job, or let's say you have an unplanned medical bill, or you got a car repair all of a sudden. Your goal is to save at least 3 to 6 months worth of core living expenses. So this includes your mortgage, or if you got your rent, minimum debt payments, car payments, bills, cell phone bills, all of that added together, you need 3 to 6 months worth. Vanguard did a study on this, and they actually said that having 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses does more for your emotional well-being than earning $200,000 a year. Believe it or not. And a lot of people do not have an emergency fund. Now, I myself have 12 months worth of living expenses saved. Why? For a peace of mind. And honestly, you don't even feel the effects of it until you actually get there because of all the opportunity costs that you're not seeing because of the fact that you have this fund. I wouldn't be able to invest the way I was investing this year, or I wouldn't be able to want to grow my portfolio as much as I wanted, my trading portfolio as much as I wanted to, just in case if I had an emergency. So now after step two, now is the time to stop the financial bleeding. And this is where we are going to tackle high interest debt. So high interest debt is debt that charges a significantly above average interest rate. And this is usually more than 10%. So this includes credit cards, payday loans, personal loans. Now, I want you guys to hear me out. You cannot invest for a 7 to 10% rate of return a year, but be paying 20% to your credit card company. The math literally is not mathing. How are you going to be paying? Hold on. Do you guys understand? For every single, you are literally guaranteeing a 10 to 13% net loss for every single dollar that you invest. Like right now, if you guys have credit card debt and you're like, Adex said, let's go invest in money. And you're gonna go put some money into the stock market and you got credit card debt, there's no point. You're doing it backwards. You have to work on this credit card debt. It does not, high interest debt is what gets most Americans. So the first thing that you need to do is get aggressive about paying this debt. We all make sense? Cool? All right, cool. So you guys we got these steps first. Mindset. Number 2, emergency fund. Number 3, high interest debt. Now we get to the fun part. And the fun part, which is investing for cash flow. You cannot save your way to retirement with the way that the cost of living is increasing. Inflation is slowly eating away at its value if you are just keeping all of this money into a savings account. This is the reason why you must invest. And there are multiple ways that you can start investing. You can invest your money through an employer-sponsored retirement, and this is in regards to the stock market. You can invest in the stock market through your employer-sponsored retirement account. You can invest through an individual tax advantage account. And you can also invest through a taxable brokerage account. And you should prioritize these accounts. Remember, this is not financial advice. But if I were to do this, I would prioritize these accounts. So priority number 1, this would be my employer-sponsored retirement account. This is gonna be your 401k. So if your employer offers a match, you take it. This is free money. I don't care what anybody else says. But now all over the internet, the 401k is not. No, free money. Step 1 is taking free money. I don't care what anybody says. You take the free money. Sounds kind of weird, but hey, it's free. So now, number 2. Number 2 is going to be through the individual or the tax advantage retirement accounts. And this can be either tax deferred or tax exempt. Now, you guys have probably heard about a traditional IRA. So a traditional IRA is a retirement account that anyone can open independently. You do not have to be an employee. You can be a contractor. But the contribution limits are a lot lower than the 401k. Now, traditional IRAs are also tax deferred, so meaning that you can deduct the contributions, or the contributions for that year are tax deductible, and you would be paying taxes upon it upon disbursements when you retire. Now, this is another way. You guys have probably heard about the Roth IRA. And a Roth IRA is a tax exempt account, meaning that you pay after-tax dollars now, but when you retire, your growth and your dividends come 100% tax-free. I want you guys to keep that in mind. 100% tax-free, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people like the Roth IRA. So after you invest in your 401k, you match with your 401k through your employer, you invest in a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, and you max it out. Mind you, the contribution limit for a Roth IRA is $7,500, right? But once you max out your Roth IRA, now we can move on to priority 3, which is going to be the taxable brokerage account. And this is going to be the main engine for cash flow. Now, unlike retirement accounts, there are no contribution limits. There are no penalties for withdrawal before 59 and a half. So you can contribute as much money as you want. You can take out as much money as you want. But of course, you got to pay capital gains taxes. Like, that's the thing you're going to have to consider, right? But this account is still focused on long-term growth. And you can have, now it gives you advantage to opportunities like a securities-backed line of credit. Now, does anyone happen to know what a securities-backed line of credit is? So a securities-backed line of credit, now that you have money invested into this brokerage account, you can now borrow against your money and you can use your assets as collateral. How do you get this money? Or where does your money come from? So you have to build a system for your income. You guys have probably heard about the 75-15-10 rule. So the 75-15-10 rule, and the reason why a lot of people like this rule, because first of all, wealthy people, they got to plan for the money before it even hits their bank account. They already know what they're going to do with that paycheck or whatever the assets that they're getting. They know what that money is going. Now, if you're using the 75-15-10 rule, which is a simple budgeting technique, what it says is that 75% of what you earn goes towards your core living expenses. So your mortgage, your rent, minimum debt payments, car payments, 75% goes towards that. Then 15% of your money goes towards your long-term investing, your future. And 10% goes towards your short-term savings and your emergency fund. And you would automate this. It's not a matter of, I want to put maybe 500. No, automate this 75%, 15%, and 10%, and you automate it to the respective pool. Now, if you are younger, it could look a little bit different. And the reason why is because you have more time on your side. You have the benefit of time working for you. You can be more aggressive. You can be risk averse. And the reason why is because you have the upward trajectory of the market that is working in your favor. So in this case, you can have 50% of what you earn that can go towards your core living expenses. And 30% should be saved towards your long-term investing, while 20% goes towards your non-essentials. So this can be like entertainment. Let's say you want to go on a dinner date or anything like your Netflix subscriptions account. Now, it does not matter whether or not you're going with the 75-15-10 rule or the 50-30-20 rule. It doesn't matter which one you go with. The key is that you just want to automate the investing number. Now, what do I recommend investing in? I like to keep it simple. Long-term vehicles, we have index funds, target date funds, ETFs, and dividend-paying companies. Now, index funds aim to mirror the performance of an index. So the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones. And a lot of people, the reason why we invest in index funds is because if the S&P 500 gives you an average 7 to 10% return a year, hey, might as well investing in an index that could possibly get me that. Target date funds mirror they're designed to help you prepare for retirement. And both index funds and target date funds are both slow and steady growth strategies. Now, ETFs. Our focus is going to be through ETFs and dividend-paying companies. And let me explain what dividend-paying companies are. So dividends are payments made by a company to its shareholders. It's kind of like the company saying like, hey, thank you for owning me. Here's a portion of our profits. And they usually pay these dividends. Usually it's paid out quarterly, but some companies pay out annually, semi-annually, monthly, or even some have weekly payments. Investing in individual companies does have its risk. Of course, you still have to think about, or you have to consider the fact that the company is going to go bankrupt or not. And also you have to do a little bit of research, right? You have to have patience. You have to have the right mindset. You kind of got to be an active investor. So one way to mitigate the risk of investing in an individual company is if you invest in a fund. And specifically, these funds are ETFs, exchange traded funds. ETFs are funds that hold a basket of assets. And oftentimes, these assets are companies with shared characteristics. So a lot of you guys know healthcare ETF, right? XLV, companies in the healthcare ETF. We got Merck, we got Gilead, we got Johnson & Johnson. If we think about semiconductor ETF, these are companies that are in the semiconductor industry. You have AMD, Micron, TSM, NVIDIA, right? ETFs are funds that hold a basket of these assets and they have shared characteristics. Another shared characteristic that they can have is that they can also all be dividend-paying companies. So imagine if you are investing into an ETF that holds 10, 50, or 100 dividend-paying companies. If one company were to go bankrupt, you still got about 99 other companies that can pay you in cash flow. So this is one of the reasons why a lot of people like paying or investing in dividend ETFs, because it's like the ultimate risk mitigation tool for consistent cash flow. I want us to take a look at some numbers. So let's say that we're taking the same example, that $40,000 in annual income, right? This is going to be our lifestyle expenses. This is going to be our lifestyle costs. Let's say we wanted to invest in Coca-Cola. Now, Coca-Cola currently offers a 3.11% dividend yield. So in order for us to get that $40,000 in annual dividend income, you would need to have about $1.3 million invested in Coca-Cola. Now remember, y'all, that $1.3 million, you get to keep it in Coca-Cola, and that will generate $40,000 in annual income. You could take HD 3.77, you need another 1 million. Or we could take UPS. UPS has a little bit of a higher dividend, 7.84%. And notice that you would only need $503,500. Now, you'll probably be looking at UPS and saying, like, okay, hold on. If UPS, that's $500,000 that I need compared to $1 million, why wouldn't I just buy UPS if I know that they're both going to generate me $40,000 in annual dividend income? Well, you don't just want to pay attention to the yield. Just because you have a higher yield doesn't necessarily mean that that is a good asset. UPS this year, UPS is down 31% year to date. So if you had invested in UPS back in January, you would be down on your position. Now, if you don't want to invest in a company, you can also invest in ETFs. For example, we have VTI, which is the Vanguard Total Stock Market Fund. And if you wanted to get $40,000 in annual dividend income, you would need $3 million invested, $3.5 million, because they only offer a yield of 1.12%. SCHD, which is the Schwab Dividend Equity ETF Fund, 3.77%. You would need 1 million. QQQI, which offers a 13.7%. You would need $292,000 of income of this holding this asset to be able to generate $40,000 of annual income. You guys are understanding this. Now, some of you may look at this number or look at these numbers and they could look intimidating to you. Oh my gosh, I need about $400,000, $500,000, $1 million. But it shouldn't be intimidating. Believe it or not, you won't believe how much wealth you can accumulate if you just put money into these funds every single month or every single paycheck. This is how wealth accumulation starts. The reason why a lot of people don't want to build wealth is because of the starting point. But if you can start today, if you can take your next paycheck and start investing in dividend-paying companies, in dividend-paying assets, they don't necessarily have to be the ones that I'm showing on the screen. You want to do your research. You want to see the reasons why they're offering a yield. What is that company doing? And remember that if you're investing in these dividend-paying companies, you are not withdrawing $40,000. You are generating $40,000. You can completely hold this asset. Okay? Now, you can start with as little as $100 a month. And this $100 can start to compound. In the beginning, it's going to seem like you're not making a lot of money or you're not generating a lot of income. But the key to becoming wealthy is to keep investing. Your initial investment buys shares. Those shares pay you a dividend. You buy more shares with that dividend, and it literally leads to a snowball effect. That's the snowball effect working, and just before reinvesting your profits. Make sense so far? We all good? All right, cool. That's step 4. Now, step 5. Now, I know a lot of y'all are traders. Raise your hand. How many of you guys trade? How many of you guys trade? Oh, okay. Whoa, pretty much every single one of you. Okay, cool. Right, I mean, this is the AdexTrades seminar after all. I mean, I should have just guessed. But so trading is a fantastic tool, and it's high risk activity to leverage your capital. But let me ask you guys, How many of you plan to trade for the rest of your life? And when I say rest of your life, hold on. Wait, because I know people are gonna, you mean, when I say rest of your life, I'm talking about like till old age. You're staring at a computer all day. Your family is asking you, hey, I haven't seen dad in 3 weeks. Like, who plans to trade until like literally you have to be going into the, do you?
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah, it's a lot of less hands raised, right? See, the reason why we wanted to trade was for freedom, y'all. We wanted to trade for freedom. We want to be able to hang out with our family, hang out with our loved ones. And the reason why one of the biggest mistakes that traders make is keeping all of their profits in their trading account. And they think that having a large portfolio is going to fix their discipline. A large portfolio is not going to fix your discipline. Risk management is what's going to fix your discipline. Let me ask you guys something. How many of you guys have lost $500 trading? Oh, wow. Okay. 1,000? Okay. 2,000? Okay. 4,000? Okay. 5,000? Okay. All right. Notice my hand still raised. 6,000? 10,000? See, I want you guys to take a look in the room. People still have their hands raised. And the reason why I'm asking you this question is because trading profits are not guaranteed, y'all. No matter how much euphoria, no matter how much the stock market is up percentage-wise, trading profits are not guaranteed. You can make a trade today for a 2,000% return and you could lose it tomorrow. So the reason why I say this is because you want to make sure that you are transferring. It is imperative that you are withdrawing profits from your account. Let's say you start with your portfolio at 10,000 and you've accumulated to now it's gotten to 20,000, right? So you made 10,000 profit, take 10,000 out. Take 10,000 out and put it into your long-term investment. Of course, you got to save some for capital gains tax, but after that, you put it into your long-term investing account. None of this is a get-rich-quick scheme, y'all. It requires years of sacrifice. A focused 10 years can give you 40 years of freedom. If you invest today, you'll get to the point where you do not have to worry about where your next paycheck will come from. Because now you have assets that are going to be paying you cash flow. And finally, wealth isn't just about you. Wealth is about legacy. We started by defining wealth as independence. But true wealth is about impact. Once you've followed these 5 steps, and once you are able to generate assets that are able to produce you cash flow, the question now changes. How do you leave a legacy? Because that freedom will allow you to decide how you can give back, how you can help your family, how you can help your community, or how you can do whatever it is that you want to do. It's not about filling your own cup, but it's about pouring into others. That is the true power of building your financial legacy. Thank you all for taking the time to invest in yourselves and your financial future. I hope you walk away with a clear, actionable plan. Get the mindset, protect the fortress, stop the bleeding, fuel the engine, and build your financial legacy. Thank you all.